Hello everyone, my name is Cole, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are looking at my LEGO Ferrari F2004 Formula 1 car mock. So if you'd like to build this model, the instructions for it are available at my website Unbrickable at the link in the description below, as well as the parts list so you can order the parts for it. So before we look at the details of the model, let's talk a little bit about the history of the Ferrari F2004. Now this car was racing before I was born, so I don't really know that much about it, so I looked it up in Google, which is how everybody does things these days, I suppose. But they told me it has a 2.9 liter V10, which I know is one of the best sounding racing engines because I watched a whole ton of YouTube videos of this car. But seriously, you should go watch them too, actually, because it's a really good sounding car. It made 865 horsepower from that little 2.9 liter V10 at 18,300 RPMs, which is pretty high for a automobile. That sounded really weird, didn't it? It was driven by Michael Schumacher and Rubens Barrichello in the 2004 F1 Championship, F1 series, I guess you call it. Michael Schumacher won the 2004 championship in it, making that his 7th world championship, and I believe it was also, I read that was the end of kind of Ferrari's domination of F1 for a little bit. He also won 15 out of 18 races that year and got 12 pole positions, so evidently it was a pretty good car. So the reason I built this car, because I'm not really majorly into Formula 1, I do like to watch it when it's on, but I get pretty bored of Max or Lewis winning everything, and it gets kind of boring after a while. But anyway, so this car is very different from that. Well, actually it's not, because Ferrari was winning everything back in the day. But it is one of the best sounding F1 cars, probably the best sounding F1 car ever made, I would guess. It's also one of 4 models in what I like to call the ultimate Ferrari race car lineup or something like that. So you already saw the F50 GT. This is the next one, the F2004. The other 2, which I have not built yet, I've designed but I haven't built them yet, are the 333 SP and the F40 LM, which once I get some parts will be here pretty soon. So this model, it's kind of weird. I'm not really an expert at scaling things, as evidenced by me building 8 white cars and putting minifigures next to them like they're the same scale. So this model, I'm not really sure what scale it is. I feel like it should be smaller to be the same scale as 8 wide cars, but then it would look weird, so we just built it like 8 wide. So I think it looks good by itself. It's at least by itself it looks fine. Maybe next to other cars it looks a bit big, but I think it looks really good anyway by itself at least. And it looks fairly good next to minifigures. It probably does look a bit oversized actually, but I like it. Also, you notice there are no decals on this model except for this one sticker, which happened to be from the Formula 1 Ferrari Lego set, which I owned a while back. I didn't want to bother taking the sticker off because it leaves all that sticky stuff on there. So the sticker's still on there and adds like a very tiny couple of sponsors on there, which I think looks fine. So with this model, I was going for more of a kind of clean and like simple and kind of, you might call it a just like nice looking design. There's some complicated techniques, but it's not definitely not the most complicated model I've ever built. So let's start off here in the front with the front splitter, which as you can see, it's thinner than the front tires, or thinner, it's inside the front tires, I guess, which normally wouldn't look right, but that's how this car was, and so that's why it looks like that. It's really simple, basically, this whole front part. You do see we have the control arms for the steering and suspension of the front wheels with these levers here, and I think that looks really good. Adds a little bit of extra detail on there. Moving back, we have these like blades. I'm gonna call them, I'm not really sure what to call them, blades or fins or something, that I guess do something for aerodynamics, obviously. And then behind that, we have the intakes, side pods. We got some big intakes from wedge plates. I think these came out really nicely. And then moving on to the kind of like cockpit, I guess, of the car. You have the mirrors on either side. You have a cockpit that doesn't fit any minifigures. Maybe if you modified it a bit, you could probably get a minifigure to fit in there if you made it a little bit taller. But I want to keep it mostly realistic looking, and so I just kept it like this, so it doesn't fit minifigures. But if you want, you can take this thing right here. Hold on, there it is. You can take this, make yourself one of these like minifigure heads on a thing, and then you can stick it inside the cockpit, and that way you have a minifigure head in there somehow. Hold on, yeah, something like that, and then you can look like a guy who's driving the car. And then for the steering wheel, or whatever you call it, steering yoke, I guess, in the car, because it's kind of like a yoke in an F1 car, we have the LEGO video game controller piece, which I think looks really cool for this. It looks like a F1 racing steering wheel. And yeah, I think that looks really good. Then moving back, we have all this complicated aerodynamic stuff. The F2004 had this in real life. There's all these like crazy aerodynamic fins and spoilers and things going down the side of the car. And so that's what we have here. As you can see, yeah, it's basically just a bunch of slopes, curved slopes, brackets and things that are forming all these all this stuff. It looks pretty cool, I think, especially because it's all one color. It makes it look pretty good. Very kind of like, I don't know, it just looks really cool, I think. And then obviously in the center, we have like the thing. I don't know what you call this part, like a fin, I guess. It's got like the intake for the engine. You have the, I think you have like a camera on top, don't you? And then it's like, I guess it acts as a roll bar as well. so if you roll the car, your head doesn't get smashed. And then you have the exhaust behind that, which are just formed with like some brackets as well. Nothing really too crazy, but I think it all looks very good. And then moving back, we have the rear wheels, I guess, which are mounted with the same thing as the front, basically on a 8-wide Technic axle. And then you have like some little Technic spacers to cover the axle up. And then behind that we have the rear wing and the rear diffuser, which is a kind of a cool mechanism, probably the most complicated design on this car, which, as you can see, we have these brackets which mount the diffuser to the bottom of these round plates, and on top of that we have an offset mount kind of the spoiler, which is a really cool design. I think how it kind of hangs down in the back here with the little thing in the center. I like the old F1 car spoilers, this kind of weird boxy look. I think it looks really cool. And yeah, I suppose it's the end of the car, so that makes the end of the detail tour thing. So like I said, there are 2 more cars in my Ultimate Ferrari Race Car series, which we will hopefully have on the channel pretty soon. So I suppose that's it for today's video. So thank you guys for watching. Like I said, the instructions are available at the link in the description below, as well as the parts list. And that's it for today's video. So one more time, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all next time.